That will be.
I need a break from this girl. I literally need therapy after talking
you
to
don't
Rachel.
need therapy. I am your therapy.
No,
I am the only therapy you can have.
messed my brain up. Literally do.
Oh my God. I'm trying so hard not to have a banter with her. First,
Because she's going to blow her cover. If she does have a banter with me, she's going to blow her cover, guys. But any which way.
All right, people. It's Agropreneur.
It's Agropreneur.
I know she's not good at farming. She's not a good farmer.
Oh, please.
So she's trying to use this word now.
Guess what?
To intimidate me so that I won't say everything I want to say about her.
Guess what?
But
that's why I'm seated right here. Because I want to hear what you
but that's
to say
true.
That's why I'm seated right here. You're claiming I'm not an agricultural person. Guys, when I was only but maybe 18,
okay.
I had pepper and tomatoes at the back of my house.
Pepper and
that I nursed, that I
yourself.
cared and tended for.
Why are you not making it sound like as a child, like a baby?
It's a baby. Plants are babies. Let me tell you something. I saw someone posted something really funny, and I'm like, we're going to get into the next segment, which is Agropreneur, and I'm seeing that the person said, what if plants are actually...
My guest is on the line.
He said, what if plants are actually farming us? And we're not the one farming plants. He says, the plants are actually giving us food and oxygen until we die so that they can eat us as manure. I'm like, who thinks like this? My goodness. But anyways, welcome to the Agropreneur segment.
Welcome.
So it's 11:15, and we already got our guest on the line somewhere.
Yes.
Because we're going to be talking about
planting time.
Yes, planting time. So it's not just about knowing what to plant. It's not just about wanting to be a farmer. It's also very important to know when to plant, when to harvest. All of those things, very important conversation.
Very, very important conversation, and that's what we'll be talking about. And our guest is Adole Silvanus. He is the CEO of 360 Utility Ltd. He is a farmer.
By the way, his name is Adole. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Hi, Abuja over there.
Abuja is fine.
Hello.
Abuja is fine. And how are you? How is Kaduna?
Kaduna is fine.
And how is your farm? How your farm?
Fine, but yesterday it rained yesterday, so we actually thank God for the rain that came on yesterday in Kaduna. So we appreciate God for that.
All right, it's good to know.
All right, welcome. So today we'll be talking about planting time. With that, we intend to look at the best time to plant your crops. So, what's your thought about that?
I think this is one major mistake many farmers do. Not having a good timing about when to plant their crops in farms, and with this, it gives them a very poor harvest or very poor turnout at the cost of harvest period. So timing is very important key, very important point in farming system that one needs to know when to farm and when to plant the crops. Just a few days ago, I think I learned some persons planted their beans. And now with a couple of rain that is falling in this August period, definitely they're going to be having a very poor yield with this, because the rain is going to be over much on the plant. So with this, it can affect the crop and the yield of the crops.
All right. So with that, we just want to know a little bit about the importance of planting during the due time or the due season for planting the crops.
And yes, what other crops are favorable? Like when you plant at this time, what plants are favorable? Because you made mention of planting the beans, and the rain is going to be too harsh for the beans to grow, so it's not a very favorable weather or condition to farm beans. So what crops can you plant at this time that will thrive?
Okay. The crops to plant at this time that will strive, I guess, the cassava, the
Okay.
rooted crops, most of these rooted crops that demand enough water. I think at this particular time they are good to plant them now because the
Okay.
rain they're going to be absorbing much rain. So it's very able to plant the rooted crops at this moment. The mistake people made that I just spoke about the beans. We have the 40 days and beans, the varieties of beans. We have the 40 days and variety of beans. I think that lasts for 40 days. Approximately 40 days, it should be due for harvesting. So some persons, because of fear of the rain, I think probably they felt the rain is not going to drop much anymore. We
Okay.
are at August. Even if it's not going to fall now, I guess within the 20 to 30, we're going to be experiencing large sum of rain.
Then
So
downpour.
yeah, so the advantage of farming in time, or probably having a good timing, it gives you room to monitor your plants, and then also the plants have, some plants need to create some roots under the soil before springing up. So plants, those plants will not generate much roots under the soil. They'll just germinate, and before you know it, and once the rain ceases, you will start seeing that the green leaf begin to turn yellow, and with that, you're definitely going to be having a poor yield at the end of your farming season.
Okay, so in essence, so general speaking, you are saying that the ideal season for planting depends on the kind of crops you're planting. That's what you're saying.
Yes, the ideal time, yes, depend on the type of crop the farmer intends to farm.
Okay, but what exactly is the fastest crop to grow during this period in Nigeria?
Nigeria, I guess the fastest crop to plant now is the pumpkin, which is the one the people call I think locally they call it is it bitter leaf or
Ugu?
they call it ogu. Yeah, they
Yes,
call it
yes.
ogu these days. So I guess if you plant that now, you're going to be having a good turnout. You're going to be having a good yield
A good
at the end of
harvest,
your
yeah.
farming season. Yeah, it's going to be having a very good yield at the end of the farming season. And also now when you farm cassava, definitely at this time of the season, you're
Yes.
going to be having very good yield too. Yes, you're going to be having a very good yield too.
Okay, so let's dive a little bit to some of those factors that you might just want to consider while looking at the best timing for planting.
Okay, the some of the factors to be considered when you're looking at the early timing of farming, I
Yes.
guess you should be looking at the availability of you should look at the terrain you are farming at. Probably over here in the north, we have a very good high rainy season this August, while in the east they do not experience high rates of rain. While in the west, I think at this moment now, Lagos and Ibadan, Calabar, they are experiencing high rain at the moment now. So you should be looking at the region. I think you should look at the region too. Then also look at the type of crops to be farmed. Also look at the availability of manpower.
Okay.
Manpower, yes, and then resources as well. Resources as well.
Okay.
When I mean resources, I mean capital. That's
Yes, yes,
funds as
yes.
well to be able to use
Okay.
for the farming. Cassava at this moment and requires not as it is before, where you just I think some of the sticks and the seedlings are being sold now. Previously, we see people going to people's farms, people farm, cutting the stick free of charge, but now you have to buy those sticks to be able to transplant them in your farm. So you should look at those few things too as well.
All right, if in case you are just joining us, sorry, I beg your pardon. This is Agropreneur of the Midday Astro Show, and today on the show we are talking about planting season, planting on time. And that is because as a farmer, there is need for you to understand what season, what time, and when to plant your crops, so that you don't plant and you don't get good
Yield
results. It
anything.
doesn't yield anything at the end of it. And we are joined by Sylvanus Adole. He is a farmer. Of course, there was one thing I learned from him the last time when he said, you can be a farmer without saying you are a farmer. Meaning that you are a farmer, your money is working for you, but you have farms and yet you don't go there. And that was the day we talked about investment. We talked about investment. So you can also join the conversation if you have something to trip into our conversation, or you are a farmer and you know or have one bit of knowledge to what we're talking about. You can join us on 090-7353-0044 or 090
9705 4450. Yes. These are the two numbers that are working, and that's the only way we'll be able to communicate with you here on radio. So yes, keep your calls coming through, and it's important that we get to intimate ourselves with these things as well, because it's not enough to say I'm a farmer. You know, regardless of the fact that we all want to be farmers, there's a requisite knowledge that helps you function as a farmer. And now he has said a couple of them.
Yes.
There are some crops that are not favorable to be planted during the rainy season. And there are some that can be planted and will thrive during this season. And he said root crops thrive during the rainy season. And it just makes sense, because plants like tomatoes, you know, farming them now when it's raining and seeing how fragile that crop is.
Yes.
When water splashes on it, it can just burst open, and you see your harvest will be, you know, you would not have a favorite. Yes, you would have very poor turnout of your crop, because you planted a crop at a season where it is not favorable. But we understand that there's an irrigation system that helps you to plant regardless of the time or the season. This is like a man-made conditioning of the seasons and the times, so that you can have, you know, a good output and what have you. So yes, we'll be asking our guest next. He's still here. We have Adole Sylvanus with us. Thank you so much for being here still, sir.
Fine, thank you so much. Thanks so much.
So now, what do you think are the things that every farmer should know when planting during the rainy season? Because yes, there are some crops that cannot thrive, but there are crops that can thrive. But what do you think every farmer needs to know, especially if they're looking at planting during the rainy season?
What every farmer need to know during the rainy season is the farmer should be able to understand that if the farmer should be ready at every time or all times to proceed to the farm. That is to say that there are some few persons who have made ridges recently. They made their ridges recently for maize, and what happened was that as soon as the rain dropped, at that time they do not have access to the seedlings in which they will plant. So it took them like 2 weeks or 3 weeks for them to get those seedlings to plant, and with that they missed the timing in which the ridges was actually made. So everything you need for your farm should be ready. It's not as if it's like you want to cook and you want to go and buy Maggi and come back and buy this one and come back. No, you need all these things to be kept ready. So that once it's time, you apply those fertilizer and all these things in between that same farm season. So that is what they should be ready with.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, I'm with you.
Yeah. So at this point, we might just want to, ask for your final thoughts and your final overview of the discussion, and then we'll just head out.
Okay. Yeah. My final. Okay. I think at this point, every farmer needs to understand the timing and time to harvest and time to plant, so that he or she will have a very good yield. And also, again, that implies to investors too, because we have what we call the e-farmers. That's those who farm with their funds. Also, they also need to understand the timing.
Tell us about e-farmers.
I love the way you put that.
That caught my attention. Tell us about e-farmers.
Okay, e-farmers are people who their funds actually farm for them. They do not go to the farm physically, but their funds are being sent across to farmers for farmers to farm for them. So if these e-farmers are not educated about the timing, you see there's going to be an issue within their farmers and also them. They need to understand when to farm and when to make investments. I think recently you can see the shootout of rice recently now.
Yes.
The way it is now per mudu now in the market is for the local rice we are having 2,800 naira, 3,000 naira there. About the beans, we still have that of the beans at 3,000 naira recently. We saw how some e-farmers actually invested the couple of 1,000 naira for a mood of beans, and today they are having their beans actually, and then even rice. I think the upland rice and also the slum rice has been harvested recently too. We saw how some persons invested 2,000 naira or 1,800 naira for a upland rice, and they were able to harvest a medium of rice. So it's actually encouraging with this. I guess we are looking forward to have a very good yield at the harvest season.
All right. Thank you so much for taking out time out of your busy schedule to join us on the show today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Silvanus Adole. A good time hanging out with you here.
All right, that will be all on the Agropreneur segment. 12 o'clock, we will be having a national core of value where we talk about national ethics and how we can be good patriotic